All right, we're back for stage 2 of Zwift's 4x4 race series. Today's route, I'll flash the mini-map thingy up on the screen, is Jurassic Coast. I've ridden it a few times, I know that. Don't know if I've raced it before. Pretty simple course. Starts with a big climb, which is more like 2 mini climbs plus a big climb in between them, and then generally sort of flat throughout the rest of it. Probably plays pretty well for somebody like me who's a bit of a diesel rider, I guess, if you can characterize me as anything at all. The climb early on, all right, great. I hit it with fresh legs and then look to pace and keep up on the flats. Could play well for me, maybe. I'm coming off of a rare full day's rest and 2 days off the bike. So I got a bit of the jitters. I should be primed and ready to go. Shouldn't be any excuses. Interestingly enough, though, I mean, this race category has me taking it back to basics. I'm on the grind again, just trying to keep up and survive with the leaders in the hopes that I can place in the top 10. I see a lot of criticism online about the Zwift ZRS scoring system. I really haven't found that myself. My racing score has never actually really gone down over the last 8 months. It only continues to go up, which I guess is a good thing. Probably means I'm increasing my level of fitness, but it's also frustrating in that every time I get to a point where I am actually competing for a digital trophy, I seem to get pushed into a new race category and again just find myself middle of the pack. That tells me that Zwift's algorithm probably has me right, has me in the place I'm supposed to be in, but again, my competitive nature, it makes it difficult for me to actually gun for a win. That would be cool. I haven't done that yet. In fact, I think I've only podiumed twice, so I guess just another average rider like everyone else, generally speaking. Not everybody can win after all. So, we got a pretty good, strong group today, about 44 riders so far in the pen. 2 minutes to go time. Just keep up on the climb, don't get dropped, come what may on the flats. That's the goal. That's the plan today. Hopefully my brain can stay out of the way as the fatigue sets in and my heart rate increases, because as soon as that happens, I just start making bad decisions. So keep it simple, do what I typically do, stay in the 14th gear, regardless of what the legs say. Again, come what may at the finish line. That's it. I'll zip through to the start and we'll get her going.
There you have it. The intro is pretty accurate to what this race ultimately is. And the start isn't overly hot, not unexpected given that we're, starting off with a fairly big climb. And again, the idea is just to keep it simple. Keep up with the leaders in the hopes that you have a spot amongst them, get closer to the finish line.
Already lost some off the back.
The first portion of this opening climb is fairly typical. We do spit a couple of riders off the back, and we do see a couple of guys lead off the front, but end of the day, the real test is coming with the second portion of the climb. The goal here is just to keep up, keep in the mix, keep amongst the pack, and maintain a decent pace.
Get me draft.
As we enter the second and steepest portion, longest portion of this climb, my goal again is to just stay in the draft, stay amongst the main pack, and as it strings out, adjust my power accordingly so that I can still hold the wheels of the leaders, so keeping up, because I know key part of this climb is going to be at the end, where I'm going to have to put in a dig and a surge to catch up with the leaders before they spit anyone they can off the back and start their own recovery effort.
Get in there. Good.
All told, I play this just right. I even have an opportunity to stop pedaling for a little during this short recovery period.
Wasn't tracking how many we lost.
And the answer there is a little more than half. I think we end up being about 24 strong at the top of this climb, and whichever guys it was who were leading the group over that climb did a great job of applying pressure and really thinning the hood for everybody else as we enter the downhill and the recovery period.
We got 20 beats to max. We're good.
As we enter this last portion of elevation on the route, my heart rate shoots up pretty high here, but again, the incline here is more just a series or collection of rollers, and it's limited in terms of overall effort that you got to put out, so I'm able to keep pace and keep up no problem. Really, I'm just entering survival mode, staying there.
Those guys can eat all they want right now.
At this point, we're just cruising on the downhill, and I'm actually keeping a very weather eye on whether or not anybody decides to surge off the front.
Bigger group right now. It's hard to spot the surges. Well, really hasn't been any, but still.
It was being slow to respond to attacks in the last couple of races that really did me in, so I'm, again, being very cognizant of recognizing when that happens in this race, if it happens at all.
Don't do that. I got in trouble last time. Stick to the plan.
And it's here again where I try to downshift into an easier gear just to try to ease up on the legs a little bit. Thankfully, I recognize early that I shouldn't be doing that because we get a little mini surge here and some people start to take off the front. I would have been hard pressed to keep up in a lower gear, and I would have lost some position if I hadn't been directly back to my typical cruising gear. So I'm starting to learn from some mistakes anyway.
See, Stan, I know you. He's probably the guy to beat. Second in last race, at least before that I did.
Again, just a little bit of rider recognition and recon here, realizing, the level of rider I'm probably up against in this race.
You'll see an attack from him for sure. Guy can push it.
I believe he does make an attack at some point, but ultimately, unlike the last few races, the difference maker here is that we've got a much larger group of riders in the pack as we head into the flats portion of this, and ultimately as well into the finish line.
6.5K. We'll see some moves. One guy off the front. I don't know if it's sustainable though. We got a big peloton in the chase. That I gotta keep up with.
And sure enough, like clockwork, we get a surge here, and everybody starts pushing a little bit harder as we come over another little mini climb here. Nothing crazy or big or huge, but the leaders in the group do push the pace and the wattage higher.
Good surge there. Whew. It ain't over.
Now, this was my first cue that the pace was not going to be an easy ride into a sprint finish, and we were going to need to expect that there would be heavy surges from the lead group. And we stretch out a little bit here, and we have a few guys fly off the front, but we're still 5K out, and I know that we're going to make them up with the size of the peloton that we have in the chase. So my heart rate goes high, and that's when I see that the next surge is about to start right here at this little bump that we're encountering.
I see it. Come on.
I'll leave this part real time because really it's easier to see what it does to both my heart rate as well as my power output numbers. There are portions here where we're pushing well north of 450 watts on a sustained basis as the leaders really try to gap out the peloton and really try to establish a new lead group.
Hold it.
Okay, so maybe it was more like, 350 watt average with, one surge north of 450, but realistically, 15K in, it doesn't matter. It all feels like north of 450, and it's tough to hold on during that surge.
If they surge again, I won't have it.
See, somebody remarked in the comments that the attack was a good try, and it really was. It took a ton out of me. And as we're entering the final stretch of this race, we're still 3K out, but the pace is pushing in and around 250 watts, and it's everything I can do to try and get my heart rate back down into at least the low 150s, because there's going to be a surge at about a K out, and then we've all got to stand up and get on it for the sprint to the finish line. Nobody leads out, makes an attack, and thankfully nobody surges again. Otherwise, I would have been dropped 100%. I am on the limit at this point, and just doing my damnedest to try to stay amongst the leaders in the hopes that I can lay down some power in the sprint and maybe secure myself a top 10.
1.2. Someone's gonna lay it down.
And sure enough, we hit 1 kilometer out, and that's exactly what happens. The pace pushes north to about 300 watts average, forcing me to actually gear up into 15th, just to balance my cadence with my heart rate, in the hopes that I can maintain my position amongst the top 10 in the lead group here. If you've seen any of my other videos, then at some point you're going to see something like this happen, and it's here where I make an egregious, albeit rather minor error by downshifting back to 14th in the hopes of prepping for the final sprint. What this serves to do, with my heart rate pretty much on the limit, is that I actually lose crucial position amongst the top 10 and end up sort of drifting back into the top 20, and that proves to be my undoing as we hit the final sprint. Now, I do recognize the mistake, and I do gear back up, but the damage is already done, and I'm already thinking that I'm still in 14th gear, and I can't think straight anymore as we get ready to put our heads down for the finish. And it's these little errors that end up compounding themselves into huge mistakes. I'm going to freeze it up here again, just so you can see what I mean, but I'm now sitting at about 220 meters out. That's about as much juice as I've got for a final sprint. I stand up on the pedals and I triple tap the gear, thinking that I'm in my typical cruising gear at 14. Unfortunately, that pushes me into the 18th gear, which is one higher than my sweet spot of 17 for my average sprint. That's going to cost me more too, because I simply can't lay down the same kind of power with a high enough cadence to really maximize the output and perhaps maybe make up a few more spots that I already sacrificed earlier on before we actually started on the final stretch.
Damn it.
Now, I had my head down the whole time, and I didn't see it, but I could feel that the power output wasn't where it needed to be.
Oh, fuck.
And I once again apologize for the profanity. Unfortunately, that's pretty much the only word I got at the end of these races these days. They kill me.
Oh my God. Oh, all right. Raced my race. I didn't see any mistakes.
And there were a couple, big guy, and they weren't small ones either.
At least, nothing really stands out. Maybe I think the last sprint I downshifted, gave up some position from 15th to 14th. That was probably a mistake. But I laid it down as best I could at the end, even with nothing left. Oh my God. Oh, this category crushes me. I'm on the floor after every race now.
And that's just the pure, unfiltered truth right there. If I want to have any hope of competing at all in this current race category, it takes literally everything I've got. And I can only hope that the people that I'm racing against are feeling the same way. Because just to rewatch it back on the video, yeah, I won't lie, it's actually a little embarrassing how destroyed I am at the end.
Oh, they still don't want to work.
You know, all told, and despite the mistakes, I did race my race here. I didn't go off early on the sprint with the rest of the group. I stuck to what I knew would be my sweet spot in terms of a sprint, and the outcome was what it was. One of these days, I'm going to put it all together and not make any errors, and who knows what that looks like at the
14th.
end.
I don't know, given how big the group was, it's probably not too bad. Everybody stayed with it to the end. Like I said, there's probably a lot more diesel riders like me than there are short and punchy sprinters. At least until you probably get to the higher race categories, then who knows. But I hung in there. I don't think I made any major mistakes. I'll run it back and we'll look, but again, just trying to keep up, and it did an alright job there. Stay tuned for next week's race. You get to see more mediocre cycling out of me, yours truly, Craig Watts. Peace.